How is it even possible that certain people can have 10 or even 100 times more productive days than others if we all have 24 hours in our day? Have you ever caught yourself saying, if only I had more time, I could do X, Y, and Z? If that's the case, here are my 7 shifts that you need to have to shift your mindset about time. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is 𝗵𝗔𝗄𝗧, and I help people live a both professional and personal, richer life. If you're looking to live that wealthier life, make sure to hit the subscribe and the like button. You see, time is one of those commodities that we only have a limited amount of. It's one of the most important things that we need to be doing, and if we don't know how to manage our time, we won't be able to be as productive and as successful as other people. We see other people who can take such advantage of their time while being successful in so many different areas of their life, and it's on us to really understand and to think about what is possible for us in our time so we can make sure that we can be the most productive in whatever it is that we want to be doing. So here are my 7 shifts that you need to have in order to make sure that you are being more productive with your time. The first idea is that there isn't going to be any more time. So if you're somebody who's complaining about the fact that you don't have enough time, you might as well give up. Understanding that we all have 24 hours, and it's really how we use those 24 hours is going to be something so crucial to understand where we need to really allocate our time. There's so many different ways of leverage that we can actually use that we just don't know about. So if we would understand and try to just think about and educate ourselves in certain things that we can actually be doing, we can actually be more productive. For example, with these videos, I understood that my time would not be well spent editing these videos. So therefore, I hired somebody to work with me who loves editing, and that person is actually really enjoying the process of doing these edits. So for me, it's not worth my time, but it is very much worth their time. This second idea I want to share with you is that you need to audit yourself. You see, whenever I speak to any of my business clients, I tell them that we need to collect all the information, all the data that is going to be possible, because data really tells us certain things about our business, about our lives. And if we don't collect that information, then we actually don't know what it is that we're looking to do. So that is one of the reasons why I love journaling, because we can go back in our journal 2, 3, 4, 5 years and really understand what are the patterns that I've seen in my life happen to me. We can actually foresee certain things that are going to be happening in our own lives. So recognizing that if we just slow down for a second and we actually just write out what is going on in our day, we'll actually be able to see what are certain times or what are certain places in my life that I can actually look to be more productive. So many people don't even realize the amount of wasted time that they're actually spending every single day. The third thing I want to ask you is ask yourself, how long has this actually been an issue for? So if you find yourself saying that I don't have enough time, has it been for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And it is a huge question we need to ask ourselves, because so many times we have something that we want to be doing, and if we would have just spent an hour or so a week on it, then we would have been able to be so much further along. And this is something that's extremely important when we're looking to learn a hobby, when we're looking to grow a business, when we're looking to do something, that if we would have just spent a certain amount of time on it every single week or every single month, we'd be able to be so much further along. So if I would ask you 5 years ago, what is something you could have done once a week or 30 to 60 minutes that could have changed things for you today? It could have been reading a book. It could have been calling somebody. It could be anything that you are looking to get better at. And if we realize that over time things are going to happen, it's going to be a tremendous shift in us. So ask yourself, how long has this been an issue, and what could we have done in the past that we can start doing today? So in the next 5, 10, and 20 years, things are going to be totally different in our lives. The fourth thing I would ask you is to actually time yourself. This might sound silly, but when I used to go shave and shower, I used to allocate about 45 minutes to do that. But then I realized that I don't think I need that much time. So one time I actually timed myself, and I found out that it only takes me about 8 minutes or so to actually shave, and only about 5 to 7 minutes to actually shower. So that by the time I get dressed, I maybe only need 20 minutes to have in my calendar for this. And you might say, Bennett, that's so silly that you're putting that in your calendar. But if you take a look at my video about when I work out, I actually work out in the afternoon. So for me to have those 25 minutes shaved off, no pun intended, during my day is actually going to help me be so much more productive in what it is that I'm actually looking to do. The fifth thing I want you to do is to actually set a date with yourself. You see, I had a client of mine who had something that they wanted to do, and they kept saying that they were being pulled in every single direction, not necessarily by work, but by other people that needed them, whether it was with their children, whether it was their spouse. And they realized that if they don't actually put something in their calendar, so they don't take out their calendar, open up to the date, circle it, and write during this time from 5 to 6 o'clock, I'm giving myself me time, they didn't actually ever have time. So they actually put it in the schedule, and they said to themselves, themselves, I have a meeting now. Because you see, if it was during work, they would not take any other calls, or they wouldn't be busy with other things. So they decided to put it in their calendar to tell themselves, these are the times that I'm going to work on something. And it's something that is so key and so important, because if we can actually start doing that, and we can actually realize, you know what, there's certain things we can start implementing in our day that can help us be more productive at the end. This sixth idea is this idea in terms of what we actually get paid to do. You see, most people are spending their days working, and they think that the more time they put into their work, then they're actually going to be getting paid more. And yeah, that might be right, but you have to understand that we don't get paid for our time, we get paid for the value that we bring. You see, why is it possible that a doctor who's been doing a specific surgery for 20 years and is able to actually do it a lot quicker than a newbie get paid 10 or 30 times more than this new doctor? It's because they have the experience and they have the value that somebody's looking for. So we have to recognize that certain things that we're doing, certain tasks that we're doing, yeah, we might have to put in the time at first, but understand that it's really the value that we're looking for that's going to be the key indicator in terms of how much we get paid. So if somebody can start working part-time, get half of their time back, and maybe get paid the same amount, you understand that your value is actually going to increase, and so will your time. This happened with a client of mine. See, he was working at a building doing property management, and he was doing a phenomenal job, and he really wanted to quit his job, but he understood that if he was going to have that shift, and there was going to be some type of time where he wasn't going to have income coming in. So he went to his bosses and he told them, I need to leave. Nothing to do with the job. I enjoy it very much, but there's certain passions that I want. And after negotiating back and forth, the company said, you know what? You can work part-time and we're actually going to keep your salary for the next 3 to 4 months. This person, just by asking, was able to actually double his value. You see, he got 20 hours back in his work and he was actually getting paid the same exact amount. So it's really on us to understand what is our value, how can we increase our value, and if we could start increasing our value, we could spend less time doing certain tasks and more time doing the things that we actually want to be doing. And the seventh and final thing that I want you to think about is compounding interest. You see, compounding interest is such an incredible phenomenon, and it's why most people become really, really wealthy. The basic idea of compounding interest is the example of, would you rather a penny doubling every single day for 30 days or $1 million today? And most people might take the $1 million today, but we all know that at the end of 30 days, it's going to be about $3 or so million if you take the penny double. So the same thing with our time, and this goes back to the leveraging aspect, that if we could start leveraging our time, if we could start putting certain things within our day and structure it in a way that we could actually increase our value and actually look to grow in certain areas of our life, then the time aspect of our life is going to grow exponentially as well. So when you started out, you're maybe working 40 hours a week, but then 15, 20 years later, you might only be working 10 hours a week. One of the biggest problems that I see is that most people just don't think about these things. They're just waiting for somebody else to come swoop them up and to really help them. They're waiting for their boss to approach them and say, hey, here's a raise, or here's a vacation day. But we have to understand that we have to take ownership of our own lives. So instead of waiting for a boss to come to us, why don't we make it difficult for a boss not to come to us? What's something that we can do? What is value that we can start adding? If we start thinking about that, then we can actually be more productive at the end of the day. So many people get so stuck on social media these days. So many people are binging so many shows that we have to understand that if we really want to be productive, we have to be conscious about it. Not to say that we can't do those things, but to say, let's just be conscious about it. So if we're watching Netflix tonight, maybe it's only for 45 minutes or 60 minutes, not for 2-3 hours. Because if we know if we do that, then what's going to happen is that negatively it's going to compound in time over time over time. Day over day, we'll have so much time in our life that's actually going to be distracted from us and not going to help us become more productive, whatever it is that we're looking to be doing.